Hi, everybody. This week we are going to review some of the things that we've been doing over the last couple weeks, starting with understanding key of C and key of G, the idea of transposing keys, chord inversions, and particularly being able to use the 1-4-5 chord progression, and rhythmic analysis and how to analyze a rhythm and practice that rhythm. So first, in the key of C, as we've been learning, this based on the major scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now, last week I showed you how you could add solfege syllables to those scale degrees. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, right? So C becomes do, D becomes re, E becomes mi, and so forth. Okay? Um, G major, the key of G, is similar, except we start on G. And because we're starting on G, we're in another key, we have an accidental. The F becomes an F sharp. There's no longer an F natural, only F sharp. But we can still apply the same syllables. So instead of starting at do, re, mi on C, now we start on G. Do, re, mi, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So that do becomes G, re is A, mi is B. Okay? So that's a little review on the key and the key change, and what it's called is transposing. I'm simply transposing what I was doing in C to the key of G. Let me show you from our from our review sheet for this week exactly what I mean. So here we can see that we are in the key of C. Here's a little simple melody that I'm going to make a sing-along for, but you can see that the syllable mi is applied to the note E. Mi, re is to the note D, re, and then the note C, do. So mi, re, do, right? That's E, D, C. But now if I transpose it over here to the key of G, it's the exact same syllables. Mi, re, and do, just like I saw here, right? Mi, re, do, and here, mi, re, do. But my mi now is in the key of G because G is do. That's the beginning of my scale. So here's the first degree of my scale, the second degree, and the third degree. So now instead of mi, re, do, now it's mi, re, do, right? It's just in a different key. So we apply the exact same syllables, the exact same interval relationships, just transposing it to a new key. The second thing I want to discuss today is a review on chord inversions and the chord progression 1-4-5. So whether we're in the key of C or G, it doesn't matter, but we'll talk in the key of C for now. In the key of C, or any key, a chord is built in root position in thirds. So the C major chord is C, E, G. An inversion simply takes the bottom note and moves it to the top. So now that first inversion means it's E, G, and C. If I move this bottom note again, where I'm left with only this one here and these two, now I've got G, C, and E. It's all the exact same notes that make up the C major chord, but they've been reordered. That concept we use for the other chords in the key of C. For the C major chord, which is our one chord because it's C is the first note of the C major scale, our F major chord, which is the 4 chord because C, D, E, F, it's the fourth note of the major scale, and our G7 chord, which is our 5-7 chord, which is on G because that's the fifth degree of the major scale, C, D, E, F, G. But by using inversions for the F major and the G7 chord, we make it more playable on the piano so that we do not really have to move out of C position. So let me show you what I mean. Here we have the 1-4-5 chord progression in the right hand and in the left hand. And our 1 chord is C major in root position. Our 4 chord is F major, but instead of starting on F here and building the chord up, instead I've left C on the bottom so that I could have a nice smooth transition from the 1 chord to the 4 chord. Only these 2 notes have to go up a little bit. In the 5-7 chord, which is G7, it's similarly. If I wanted to build G in root position, it would be G, B, F. But I'm going to move these 2 notes down so that I can stay in C position and just move down a little bit with my finger. This one doesn't move at all, and this one moves down a little bit. So this is called, again, smooth voice leading. Here I have the exact same chord progression transposed into the key of G, which has the exact same motion of notes, using the exact same fingering pattern to accomplish the 1, the 4, and the 5 chord. Finally, this week, we're going to review our rhythms and the way that we analyze rhythms. A quarter note or a quarter rest gets 1 whole beat. That is both the down, which is the downbeat, which is the number, and the up of my foot, which is the and. We mark that with a plus sign. So in a measure of 4/4, I have my foot going down 1, up on the and, down 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. That means every single beat has 2 parts, really, a downbeat and an upbeat. So a quarter note or quarter rest takes up a whole beat. That means I'm going to do the downbeat and the upbeat and include that in my 1 full beat. However, eighth notes allow me to split that beat in half and do 1 note on the downbeat and 1 note on the upbeat, or a rest on the downbeat and a rest on the upbeat. Let me show you what I mean again with how we do a rhythmic analysis. Here, we can see that we have a quarter note, and it takes up the 1 and the and. Every single measure will always have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You'll see these same rhythms on your rhythm worksheet from last week, and you can check your work by seeing if you got what I got in terms of the analysis. Here we have the 1 and the and. Then here is the downbeat of 2, but the 8th note is barred so that I can do the upbeat on the and of 2. And then here's quarter note, which means 3 and quarter note, which means 4 and. So this rhythm sounds like this: 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. I always like to end on 1. It just makes a lot more sense. So once again, you can look at how I've analyzed all of these rhythms. Let's look at this one together, the C rhythm. Here I've got my 8th notes. There's my downbeat, my upbeat, my downbeat, my upbeat. Here is my down and up because this is my quarter rest, and my quarter note, same thing, downbeat and upbeat. Excuse my drawing. So let me count that rhythm out now and play it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, the tricky part of playing is that you've got to only tap your foot on the downbeats. So I'm going to include this metronome for a second. In a metronome, keeping the beat, we'll hear the first beat a little bit higher pitched than the rest. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. That's where my foot's tapping. 3, 4. Now I'm going to do the C rhythm, and it's 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Remember, my foot does not follow my claps. My foot follows the metronome. 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. I was only doing the first measure in the C rhythm, but the C pattern really includes 2 measures. When you look at the play along, you'll hear me play along with both measures. So this is a quick short review of of all the different elements that we've been working with. Melody in the key of C and the key of G, which means transposing the exact same thing just to another key. Using solfege to apply to those notes, which we can of course play those notes on the piano, or we can sing them just to work on the music part of it. Then we talked about chord inversions, the ability to reorder the notes of the chord so that we can get smooth voice leading while staying in one position. And we looked at the 1, 4, and 5 chords, the most popular chords in pop music. Finally, we looked again at what it means to analyze rhythm, and particularly the notion that you have downbeats and upbeats, and therefore we've now introduced eighth notes and eighth rests. So happy practicing, and I'll see you in the other videos.